Hello, everyone. Welcome to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Wednesday, March 10th. Thanks for choosing to be here to get filled in on the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. These are the stories that you are clicking on. And this first one, a lot of people are clicking on because they have been waiting for a long time for some relief because of the impact of COVID-19. And today, the U.S. House of Representatives has passed the bill, approved with the changes by the Senate, for more relief for most Americans. The American Rescue Plan put forward by President Joe Biden, a $1.9 trillion package, and that has now passed the House, and it will now go to President Biden's desk to be signed. Now, it was a near party line vote in the House, 224 and 211 against. This is 7 weeks after President Biden entered the White House, 4 days after the Senate passed the bill, without a single Republican vote. And now most Americans will be getting up to $1,400 direct payments and $1,400 for dependents. Now, that'll be phased out completely for individuals earning $80,000 and couples making $160,000 a year. Another thing in the relief package, it extends $300 per week of emergency unemployment benefits into early September. So this is that additional federal benefit that you're getting if you are getting unemployment benefits from the state of Ohio. There's a lot more in this package. There's also hundreds of billions for COVID-19 vaccines and treatments, schools, state and local governments, and industries from airlines to concert halls. There's also aid for farmers of color and pension systems, subsidies for consumers buying health insurance, and states expanding Medicaid coverage for low earners. Now, to the question that people are asking, when do you get your checks? Well, it could be very, very soon. If you remember, during the first round of stimulus checks in April of 2020, it took about 2 weeks for the federal government to start distributing that money if you had been signed up for direct deposit. And the second round of stimulus checks that came out, that was in early January, those were about $600. It took 1 week for those. Now, the infrastructure is already in place from the first round, so what we'll likely see is something a lot more like what we saw with those $600 checks. So as soon as President Biden signs this, then the Treasury Department can get to work on that. Now, another thing in this bill is an increase in the monthly child tax credit. Well, an increase in payments, and potentially, over the course of the year, you could get that monthly, you could get that quarterly. Just depends on what the Treasury Department is able to figure out in terms of getting those payments out to people. Now, under the current law, most people who pay taxes can reduce their federal income tax by $2,000 per child. That's the child tax credit. Well, this bill increases that tax break to $3,000 per child if your child is between the ages of 6 to 17, and $3,600 per child if you have a child under the age of 6. Now, that equates to either $250 or $300 per month. Families will get the full credit no matter how little you make in a year, but it does phase out if you make a certain amount of income. It's also fully refundable. So if you're a family that doesn't earn an income, you will receive that money. Now, that maximum additional money goes to people who make $75,000 a year and couples who file jointly that make $150,000 a year. That money starts to get phased out after that. And the max then for decreasing that phases out completely if you're a person who makes $200,000 as an individual or $400,000 as a couple. You won't get that increase in the child tax credit, but you will still be eligible for that $2,000 child tax credit that you've always been eligible for prior to COVID-19. Now, the question about that child tax credit and when you might get it, the goal is to divide the payments into monthly state installments, but the Treasury Department may not be able to do that. It could be quarterly or however frequently they can do it, but the earliest people are expected to see that money is in July. And you can also opt out of the monthly payments and get a lump sum at tax time like people do now when you would file your taxes for next year. But bottom line, the stimulus package, the American Rescue Plan, has passed the House, and many Americans will be receiving checks potentially within a week here with those $1,400 direct payments. Now, another way people are getting money potentially related to COVID-19 relief is from Bridgestone Americas. They are now paying employees a little bit of extra money if they get the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, this is not new. A lot of companies have decided to do this. And this is a one-time payment that would be available to all 33,000 U.S. employees who would get the COVID-19 vaccine that work for Bridgestone America. This is to help people who might have to miss work, have childcare issues, transportation costs, or other potential obstacles that arise due to getting the vaccine. And in Akron, there are over 600 associates who are eligible for that $100 COVID vaccine payment program through Bridgestone America. And they are encouraging employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine, but it is not mandatory. Now let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers across the world and here in the U.S. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. Globally, the total number of COVID cases is now at 117,817,568. The total number of deaths globally is now at 2,614,783. And here in the U.S., we have 4% of the global population, but leading by far and wide the percentage of cases and the percentage of deaths, with those percentage bopping around just a little bit. Right now, the U.S. has 24.7% of the COVID-19 cases. That's down 1/10 of a percentage point from what we saw yesterday. And 20.2% of the COVID-19 deaths. That's up 1/10 of a percentage point from what we saw yesterday. Here in the U.S., the total number of reported COVID cases is now at 29,113,788. The total number of deaths is now at 528,469. Here in Ohio, we've got the latest information from the Ohio Department of Health. We've seen 1,868 new COVID cases reported in the last 24 hours. That is down just a bit from yesterday. Taking a look at the testing that's being done, on Monday, there were about 18,000 COVID-19 tests done, and about 4.3% of those came back positive. So that's about 783 positive COVID tests. The 7-day average remains at 3% right now. Death reports, as you know, are coming in twice a week now. We don't have new death numbers to share from the Ohio Department of Health, as they are now waiting to get certified death certificate results and no longer reporting probable cases and taking out that element of the human error that resulted in that undercounting of the COVID-19 deaths back in November and December. So when we have that information, we'll share it with you. In the last 24 hours, there have been 114 new COVID hospitalizations. That is down a bit. The total number of people in the hospital right now being treated for COVID is 933. That's up by a few. And 245 of those people are being treated in the intensive care unit. That's down by a few. We've seen 5 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours, which is also down from yesterday. Taking a look at progress with the vaccines, over 10.2% of Ohioans are now fully vaccinated. That's almost 1.2 million people, and 31,600 new people fully vaccinated in the last 24 hours. And in terms of the people who have started the vaccination process, if you are one of the people who is getting the 2-dose version of the COVID-19 vaccine, now over 2 million people, now over 2,086,000 people have started that process here in Ohio. That's almost 18% of our population, and 51,000 more people started the process in the last 24 hours. That's a significant jump in what we've seen in terms of new people starting the vaccination process. Looking at national news again, jury selection continues in the trial against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. We now have at least 4 jurors who have been seated in that trial related to the killing of George Floyd back in May, when we saw that video of Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck for about 8 minutes, him eventually losing his life. The jury needs to be filled out with 10 more people, so a jury of 14 people total will decide whether Derek Chauvin is guilty of the charges that are against him. Now, the courts are still awaiting a ruling about proceeding with the trial as they wait to see what will happen with that charge of 3rd-degree murder. The prosecution did want to wait on that, but the defense and the judge wanted to move forward. So they are moving forward with the jury selection at this time. And here's some news. Derek Chauvin's lawyer did confirm that the 3 former officers who are also charged in George Floyd's death will not, I repeat, will not be testifying against him at trial, with those opening statements coming at the earliest March 29th. We'll keep you updated on that. Back here in Ohio, an attorney for the Solon High School principal who was placed on administrative leave, according to that attorney, has been cleared of wrongdoing after being accused of inappropriate conduct in what is being called a fraudulent email. Solon High School principal Aaron Short was placed on administrative leave last month after the district says it received a concern about her. Details were not released about what that concern would be, but in a statement released earlier this week, Principal Short said that the accusation of inappropriate conduct against her was from a fraudulent email. Here's what Short said in a statement, that on February 14th, a fraudulent email was sent to members of the Solon Board of Education. The senders of this email created a fictitious email account by using a false name in order to falsely accuse me of inappropriate conduct. It's an unfortunate sign of the times that anyone can hide behind a computer, create a fake email account, and defame anyone of their choosing with a few keystrokes. Solon Superintendent Fred Bolden did not, as I said, specify the allegation, but he did confirm that it would have occurred more than a decade ago, and the accusation was serious enough that police had to be contacted. So Short was placed on leave since February 15th, pending that outcome. Now, Short has been a district employee for more than 20 years, and she was promoted to the principal position in 2010. Here's what she said. She says she looks forward to the conclusion of this investigation so that she can return to her position as principal of Solon High School. She also said she intends to vigorously pursue all damages that she has suffered as a result of the, quote, false and defamatory allegations against her in a release. Lying about someone, if this proves to be fraudulent, which the attorney says she has been cleared and it has been determined to be fraudulent, big potential there for some civil liability in that situation. Now, here in downtown Cleveland, you might have noticed some spring cleaning happening at FirstEnergy Stadium just 2 months ahead of the 2021 NFL Draft. Hard to believe that it's 2 months away to the 2021 NFL Draft, but it is still being held here in Cleveland, according to the NFL. So there was a scaffolding crew that spent Wednesday morning sort of just shining up the signage on FirstEnergy Stadium. Now, FirstEnergy Stadium won't be the site, the official site of the 2021 NFL Draft, but it'll be pretty close by. Cleveland City Council has said that there will be a stage constructed at the North Coast Harbor, which is just outside the stadium. And the last week, as I said, the NFL did confirm that it will be still taking place in Cleveland. Now, FirstEnergy Stadium needs a little bit of sprucing up, a little bit of spring cleaning, because not only will it be a sort of backdrop for the 2021 NFL Draft, but there are also some concerts scheduled there. Last year, that concert with Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts was canceled. Now it's scheduled for July 3rd. So based on what we've seen from Governor Mike DeWine at this time, an outdoor concert like that will be able to continue, at least at a limited capacity. So they are preparing for that and getting things all cleaned up. One more thing to tell you before we go here. Chipotle is making a change to its ordering options in its app, and quesadillas will now officially be on the menu online through the app. That starts tomorrow, Thursday, March 11th. Now, if you've been going to Chipotle in the last decade, you can go into the store and you can get yourself a quesadilla. They'll do it for you. Well, now they officially have a quesadilla on the online ordering menu. Online only. It's got Monterey Jack cheese. You can get it with meat or with fajita veggies, and it'll be cut into little triangular slices, and then you can pick 3 salsas or 3 sides to go with it. And if you order through the app with a quesadilla through March 21st, a minimum of $10, you'll get free delivery with that option. Now, as someone who orders a lot of takeout, I'm an okay cook. I just don't cook all that much, but I do order a lot of takeout. Let me just say how much I appreciate this, because when the options on the app don't match what you can actually get in the store or in the restaurant, it is very frustrating. So, Chipotle doing good things here, adding the quesadilla to the app, and also I have to say, as a quesadilla lover, I appreciate this, and I will certainly be taking advantage of this between now and March 21st. That is it for your 3 News Now update for Wednesday, March 10th. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. I'll see you back here tomorrow for more 3 News Now. Between now and then, everyone stay safe, be well, enjoy this incredible weather we are having in Northeast Ohio, because as our chief meteorologist Betsy Kling and our weather team tell us, it's going to get cold again. But right now, it's beautiful and sunny outside. I'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm Stephanie Haney.